Hey, this is Joe from Personas. In this video, we're going to talk about how pre-roll and auto punch work in Studio One. I use pre-roll all the time and auto punch occasionally. They're great tools to have when doing kind of traditional audio recording sessions. So let me throw a scenario at you. We're recording vocals and we got to this first chorus. We listened back and we decided this first line of the chorus needs to be punched in and replaced. Now, the first way you can do that is by literally just pressing the record button. And I can do that like this. I can just say... And I've punched myself in, how does it sound? Yeah. And punch myself back out by pressing the record button again. In case you're wondering, I've got record mapped to this. Is that forward slash, backslash? It's the one right above the return key. So I tap that on and off when I need to just punch something in pretty quickly. That's fine if I'm recording someone else, or if I'm playing something with one hand on the keyboard. But if I need both my hands, which I tend to do, or I guess if I'm singing, that can help too. But if I need to use both my hands for playing guitar, keyboard, things like that, using something like pre-roll or auto punch can really help. So how does that work? Pre-roll is exactly what it sounds like. It's gonna roll the tape before you need it to. Pre-roll. So how do we access the settings for that? It's down here in the metronome preferences. So if you see metronome down here at the bottom of your window, just click on that little wrench there. We have wrenches all over the place hidden for you. And here's what you see. The pre-roll section is right here. So we can turn pre-roll on or off. And I tend to set mine to 2 bars. Now, pre-count and pre-roll are two different things. Pre-count will just count you in like a click track for however many bars you set before it starts recording. Similar to the very first time I used GarageBand on my phone, it gives me like a count in before it starts recording. That's pre-count. I don't really use that, but I do use pre-roll all the time, and I typically set it to 2 bars. So here's how that would work. Let's say I'm working with a singer, and I say, hey, let's get that first line of the chorus again. Here it is. I'm going to give you 2 bars. And they say, okay, cool. And then I hit record, and this is what happens. It goes back exactly 2 bars, plays me the previous 2 bars, and then it automatically starts recording on its own. So all I have to do is press record, and then I've got my hands free to do something like sing. Mama, she warned me. What if it's all in my head? What if I'm... And just like that, we've punched in a vocal. Now, you may have noticed I did still have to press the record button or the play button to get out of recording. Otherwise, it would have just kept going. So pre-roll is handy for saying, let's just pick up at the chorus and keep going. And I can say, okay, you got 2 bars before the chorus, and then just let it roll. That's great. But you'll still need to punch out when you get out of it. If you want another option for that, then we'll use something called auto punch. Now, the way to engage pre-roll, I forgot to mention this. Down here, you'll see these little icons here. This one is for pre-roll, and you click that to turn it on or off, because maybe there's situations where you just want to start recording from exactly the spot that you have marked. Other times you want the pre-roll to go on. So you can turn that on and off here. I use the button O, the letter O on my keyboard to engage and disengage that. And then just below that, we have something called auto punch. This is engaged with I. So I and O, they're next to each other on the keyboard. We can toggle between them by hitting those buttons. And you can't ever have one over the other. So there's always, you're either doing auto punch or you're either doing pre-roll or auto punch. You can never do both. That's kind of the way it's laid out. Now, auto punch works this way. It's where it's going to record off of what I have selected with my loop range up here. So if I start recording back before this section, it's going to record when it enters the loop, and it's going to stop recording when it exits the loop. A cool feature to make this even easier, come down here to like the transport, right-click, and choose this option here called Loop Follows Selection. This is handy for a lot of different reasons, but specifically for this, when I make a selection here, you'll notice the loop now follows. Now, it also follows when I select an entire huge chunk of audio. You can see the loop is now really big. But when I'm using the selector tool just to select, say, this section here, now the loop has followed that. Now I can come back here, I can press record, and check out what happens. It's going to start recording. I'm not touching anything. Here we go. What if it's all in my head? So it punched me in and punched me out. If you've used Pro Tools before, there's a feature called Quick Punch, kind of similar to that. Now here's a setting that you need to have on to make this work even better. Let's go to Preferences, go to Advanced under Audio, and make sure you have this selected, Pre-Record Audio Input. And I've got it set to the maximum of 1 minute. This means if I happen to punch this in too late, right, I set my points and I realize, oh, I need to grab the first couple of notes before that, it's actually already recorded. Studio One has recorded that. I can just drag this back to get what was there, which here I think I was talking. It's gonna start recording. I'm not touching anything, see, right? So I was able, that wasn't technically recording, but Studio One was sneakily recording under the hood for me. To review, 3 ways you can punch in a recording, specifically an audio recording. First, you can just press the record button to punch in and then press the record button to punch out, i.e. to start and stop recording. That works fine. If you want to be more precise with it, you can use pre-roll. Press the letter O on your keyboard to engage pre-roll. Think of it as pre-roll O, and that will turn pre-roll on and off. And then that will allow you to give yourself 2 bars before it starts recording, and then you can stop the recording whenever you're ready. If you have a very specific section, a start and end point that you want to punch in, then you can select that with your loop points and then use auto punch, which is I. I don't have a cute way of remembering that. It's just next to O. Engage that. Just go back before that section by a few bars, press record, and it won't record until it gets to that section. Hope this was helpful for you. Go try some of this out in your studio, see which ones make sense for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.